right, welcome back, guys. We are in Scott Kelby's The Adobe Photoshop CC book for digital photographers. We're working in Chapter 7, and in this particular exercise, we're going to work with the dodge and burn tools. According to Kelby, in older versions of Photoshop, when we wanted to dodge and burn, we had to jump through a bunch of hoops, creating special layers, using blend modes and such, because the dodge and burn tools were not the best. So back in Photoshop CS6, they updated these tools, which totally fixed the problem, and now it's safe to use the dodge and burn tools for lightening and darkening different parts of your image. So before we dig into this, he just wants to let you know up front that I would normally do his dodging and burning inside Camera Raw using the adjustment brush, and for the lightening and darkening using only the exposure slider. However, if you're already in Photoshop, don't want to go back to Camera Raw, here's how you would do it. In the photo here, the light is kind of out of balance. The thing that he wants people to drawn to is the mossy rock. And of course we can see that that's not the case. There, your eyes immediately go to the hillside or the trees on the hillside. So in fact, the almost entire foreground is in shadow. So first we're going to dodge or lighten the rock and a little of the hillside. Then we're going to burn the sunlit trees or darken the sunlit trees further up the hill in the sky. We're going to just rearrange the way the light is falling on the photo. Now he doesn't use the dodge and burn tools directly on the original photo. Instead, we're going to press Command J or Control J, and that creates a new layer, duplicates the background layer actually, and that way if we don't like what we've done, we can lessen the effect by lowering the layer's opacity. In effect, kind of using it as an adjustment layer, so we're not impacting the final image yet. So we're going to get the dodge tool 0, or O, I'm sorry, from the toolbox. Make sure you've got the dodge tool because that's also the same quick key for burn and sponge. So we're going to get the dodge tool, and we're going to begin painting over the area we want to lighten. And in this case, we're going to start painting over the mossy rock in front. So you want to keep holding the mouse down as we paint because the dodge and burn tools have a build-up effect. Each time you release the mouse button and start painting again, the amount of dodge or burn builds up. So we're going to go over this light area. Going to release the button, and then we're going to paint over that same mossy rock area again. And you can immediately see how it is lightening that much more so the second time that we do it. I'm going to come out here just a little bit as well. All right, we're back, and we are going to go to page 198. Actually, we're going to go to page 199, step 4. And in this step, we're painting over the hillside to dodge or brighten it. But again, this time we're going to keep the mouse button held down the whole time to paint just one level of brightness. All right, so we're going to go here to the side of the tree, or the side of the hill. And you can see if I hold my mouse down, it's lightening it, but not as significantly as it lightened out the mossy area when I release the mouse and then paint it again. This is just one level of brightness at this point. Now before we switch to burning on the sunlit trees and sky, we're going to take a look up in the options bar for this tool, and you can see that we've been dodging just the midtones. So this is the dodge tool, this is the size of the tool that we're using, and we're dodging just the midtones. That's generally where Scott Kelby does his dodging and burning, but if you want the tool to just affect the highlight or shadow areas, you can choose from that range pop-up menu. So if you click on this arrow, you can choose the shadows or the highlights to affect just that area. Also, the 50% exposure amount right here is fine for something like this, but if he were doing it on a portrait, he'd usually want something much more subtle and would probably lower the amount to around 10 to 15%. All right, now we're going to switch to burning. First, we're going to start by pressing Command J to duplicate your top layer. So we're going to do a Command or Control J, and you'll see that we have another layer now. So at this point, we've got the original untouched image as the background layer. We have got the brightened dodge layer in the middle, and we can rename that. So I'm going to click on that just click on the name and rename that dodge or lighten, if that helps. And then we're going to click on this one. Oh yeah, we are. Okay, come on. And we're going to rename this burn or darken. If you keep everything on separate layers, if you don't like the burning effect, for example, you can reduce it by lowering the opacity or delete it altogether and just impact that particular layer. You won't lose the dodging that we did on the layer previous or the layer below it, as you see. So now we're going to get the burn tool. We're going to go back over to the toolbox and we're going to find the burn tool. And we are going to paint over the sky and the bright trees. And you can really see that darken those trees. And hopefully this will result in making the focal point the mossy green bank in the foreground rather than these lighter trees in the background. All right, then we're going on to page 200, chapter 7 and step 6. We're going to darken the sky a little bit more by burning over it again. And remember to keep your mouse held down so that we're just doing the second level of burning or darkening. One more thing, up in the options bar you'll see a checkbox for protect tones. That is checked. That's the checkbox that helps to keep the color of what we're dodging and burning intact, so things just get brighter and darker, not sunburned or color saturated. He leaves it on all the time, even when he's not dodging and burning portraits, which is it's most useful. And below on page 200 is a before and after shot of what we've done. He said he took things a little further in those shots than he normally would just to show the clear example of the power of dodging and burning. And I think probably what I would do is I would go back over here, maybe even and burn these or darken them a little bit more. Nice. And again, now you'll see that the foreground shot of this mossy hill becomes the focal point. Great, that's it for this. I'll be back in just a moment to do a really cool one, fixing reflections in glasses. Not that they're all not really cool, but this one in particular, because I do have relatives that I take shots of occasionally that do wear glasses, and this will come in very handy.